Hello and welcome to BL Week in Review. I am your host, BL Songbird, and uh, tonight we are going to be mainly just chatting about what's happening for this week in the world of boys' love. Mm. Hi, everybody. Don't forget to like the episode. Feel free to clip things and share them far and wide. Feel free to comment both in the live chat and afterwards in the actual comments. The live chat is key towards these episodes. I do chat a lot with you guys. So be sure to turn on the live chat when you join. It's good to see you all. Oh my goodness, here he comes. Okay, well, come here. Oh, okay. I have a cat friend. He's rather needy lately. He needs lots of hugs. He's got eye stuff going on. So, coming to you from my home with my cat. This is Seamus. Okay, so yeah, like, comment, share all the things so that the algorithm in YouTube does its work, and more people discover us. Anyway, how was everybody's week going? My week has been fairly entertaining so far. I feel like it's been really productive. Here in the United States, Monday was a holiday, and so we had a lot of like an entire extra 24 hours over here to get stuff done, which was nice. Good morning, Katie. Forget you're on the other side of the world, whereas over here it's evening. Day is winding down. I set a fun goal though. I'm going to try to write 300 words of my novel every day, which I haven't gotten around to yet today. So that's still to come later. But I'm going to try to write more. And then, like, the big thing, I'm going to announce it here just so there's like some level of accountability, right? You guys can check in with me too, be like, have you written your 300 words a day? Anyway, the goal is to hopefully have the book out by the end of this year or early next year. That's my plan. I have about 10 chapters left to write. And like the rest of the chapters are all really well edited, so those 10 chapters should come pretty quickly. Here in the States, I've been informed the category is gay romance. But I feel like it's got that element of boys' love in it in the sense that it's fantastical and the homophobia has been downplayed. So, if you like that kind of story, maybe check it out later. Yeah, I'm pretty excited, Katie. It involves ghosts and like an alternate universe where people help ghosts onto the next world and it's their calling, and then there's shape shifting involved, which is also really fun. Um, yeah, it's been an entertaining ride for sure. Okay. And I'm chatting on and on because this week has been so quiet. So super quiet. Like, let's get into it. The BL Week in Review, what there is of it, anyways. I think most of this chat is going to be spent talking about things that are currently airing because as far as things that ended, began, or are coming, we're getting a little break, everybody. So we had one new show since I last talked with you all, and that is My Bias is Showing. It is a Korean BL on iQIYI here in this country, but I know it's also on Gaga Ulala in some countries. So depending on where you are, it could be other place. And I have to say, the height difference was highly entertaining. I thought there would be an age gap. There is not. And it was just kind of an entertaining start, for sure. So, my bias is showing was cute. I liked the first two episodes. Yeah, right? It was cute. It was a good way. That's a good way to put it. It was just cute. Now, I do have to say that it might be more fun as a binge watch than it is week to week. I'm not like saying don't watch it week to week, but I could actually see this show being super cute, super fun to watch all in one go. Yes, exactly. The Idol is huge, right? Because my bias is showing is about a man who's a teacher who found himself like falling in love with K-pop and specifically one artist, and that person is his bias, and that bias is a very, very, very tall person. Very tall. Anyway, so yeah, super fun show. Worth checking out if you need something lighthearted. Shows that ended. We have Dog Bro. I still feel like I need to know the actual Thai title for that show because the English translation that they came up with is something. Anyway, Dog Bro episode 6 was the final episode, so it's kind of on the shorter end of things. And you can find it on IGE again. IGE for the win, I guess. Although I feel like Dog Bro might be also on YouTube. Not positive, but I think Dog Bro is also on YouTube. Anyway, for me, it wasn't a show for me, so I didn't finish it. But some people said that for like a first series for the actors, because each of those actors they are kind of brand new, they thought it was cute. Not the best thing they'd ever seen, not the worst thing they'd ever seen. So that's kind of what I'm getting from that. So, okay, DeLorean, you looked up their height differences. Short one is 167, taller one is 188. So, it's just that the shorter one is rather short. I think, yeah, 6'2". Jimmy from Jimmy Ohm is 196. Yeah, Jimmy is just tall. He's just really, really tall. Wow, an 8-inch height difference is quite notable. It was significant. Like, um, if it felt like a massive height difference. I was like, it's huge. It's kind of crazy. So if you like watching something just for the visuals sometimes, maybe might be one for you. Okay. Dog Bro ended, and then the next one, and oh, they only released the first episode of Dog Bro on YouTube. Good to know. So that's what I saw on YouTube. Again, the rest you can find on IGE. They were probably trying to like give people an opportunity to try it for free, see if they wanted to pay for it or not. I didn't either, Chaz. Jimmy is 6'5", is super tall. I had no idea that he was quite that tall. That is crazy. And kind of fun too. Honestly, I kind of love it. Anyway, okay. The other one that ended is the proper way to write love. Proper way to write love is from Japan. You can find it on Gaga Ulala, as you can find all Japanese BL right now that were released internationally. I don't know why, but Gaga seems to have exclusive rights to Japan at the moment. It's 8 episodes long, and honestly, what a surprise! What a refreshing surprise! I had a moment or two of trouble. I was like, oh, this guy's super toxic. But then one of my BL friends pointed out that they're both super toxic. So both characters in that really do have kind of toxic personalities, toxic motivations, but somehow they work. And the ending was very, very refreshing. I liked it quite a bit. And it's worth checking out if you want to watch something different. At least I think it was different. We'll talk about that a little bit. later. Well, actually, now maybe because those are it. Can you believe it, guys? Okay, if I missed something that's coming out this week, put it in the comments because I I feel like there's just zero really. But hey, we needed a little break anyways. Let's be honest here. There's been so much going on that we needed a break. Okay, let's see what the chat's going on here. We've got the interactions between Jimmy and Ohm at Domundi's Sport Day were adorable. I love Ohm. Okay, you guys go on. I want to know all the things about Domundi's Sport Day. I did not pay attention to that this last weekend. That is one thing that happened this last weekend. If you follow Thai BL, Domundi, one of the companies that does quite a few shows, had a sports day where their actors got together and played sports instead of acting, and I think there was a musical show at the end. So I hear it was fun, good time had all around. Some people stayed. There was a live stream version. Some people watched all 8 hours or something really crazy like that. So yeah, that happened. And what else? People like GMM TV actors, the other major Thai company, they were all over the world. Um, I feel like four couples were in Rome, one couple is in Taipei. So GMM TV is kind of spreading its wings a little bit internationally, which is kind of cool. Um, okay, so here was my thought for today. I thought that we would chat about shows that are currently airing that like kind of break the mold of what we think of as boys love, because I feel like there's quite a few of them like that right now. So I'm just going to start with The Proper Way to Write Love, and primarily that one broke the mold. A okay, so boys love in Japan typically has, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, at least one character who, in some fashion, is unaware of either that they have romantic feelings in general or, not necessarily attracted to men at first. So, someone who's either like like has never been attracted to a person before, so like demisexual, or someone who has um who's straight, who's never been attracted to a man before. In fact, like back in the day with BL from Japan, it was typically two straight men, from what I understand, two straight men, and it was like written by women for women or something along those lines. At least that was like the classic definition. And there were things like non-con was really common, top bottom mystique was really common, with like more effeminate characters playing the more submissive role, etc., etc. So that I feel like those are some of the classic problematic. I'm going to call them problematic tropes from BL that come from way back in the day, and I feel like they're changing, and I want to highlight those changes a little bit in today's world. So, in the comments, if you guys happen to think of a series that's been airing recently that doesn't fit that mold, go ahead and put a shout out to it, because I feel like it's important that we like audibly shift away from some of the stuff that isn't, what would you call it? It just isn't the way we want it to be nowadays. Or at least I feel like there's a lot of us who are voicing that we like the new tropes that are less that direction. Okay. Let's see. So proper way to write love's ending. And from now on out, there will probably be spoilers. Not even probably. There will be spoilers because to highlight what makes them different is going to require a little spoiler here and there. So I'm just going to point out that proper way to write love from Japan broke the mold of who is feminine and who is masculine in the relationship. So that I thought that was really cool. And it broke the stereotypical mold of one or both characters needing to be somehow unaware of love or unaware of being attracted to men in general. I think both of them came into it well aware that they were not, that they were indeed gay characters. So I feel like the proper way to write love broke a lot of stereotypes for Japan. And another one from Japan that's airing right now that broke stereotypes is 10 things I want to do before I turn 40. Would you guys agree? Like that one, who's been watching the shows from Japan? Anybody? Before I go any further into this, have people been watching the shows from Japan? I feel like there's the proper way to write love ended, but I think there's still two. We've got Stay by My Side After the Rain, and we've got 10 Things I Want to Do Before I Turn 40. Um, 10 Things is super enjoyable, and I feel like, at least so far, we have two very gay men who are just trying to navigate life. And that show, we talk about BL classically being labeled as a show that avoids homophobia, that lives in a fantastical world where everything's okay. Um, I feel like the homophobia is being used in that show a little bit, and I feel like it's prevalent and relevant and possibly internalized by one of the main characters. So that's also interesting. Like if we were arguing about what BL was, in a classic sense, you might not even be able to call it BL. But I feel like we're broadening the definition of what BL is just so that like everything falls under the same umbrella. And it's like not like all of these different little things. It's one big thing. So 10 Things is super cute. It's super fun. And everybody in the comments is like, yes, it's so charming, right? I like 10 Things though. Japan right now is 10 Things. Yeah. I won't say anything else. Yeah, what won't let's not say too much about the most recent episode for Chas's sake. But again, like I feel like it breaks the molds of stereotypes for BL. So what else? You guys can throw out some shout outs in the comments too. I saw one from Ussel saying, "Will you think of me at the first time?" How does that one break the mold? I'm curious. That one's not one I've watched. Is a real a short form series? Also, I'm curious about that one. Um, okay, so another one that doesn't really fit any classical stereotypes is My Magic Prophecy, which I don't know. That's fast becoming maybe my favorite currently airing show. This last episode might have might have sealed the deal for me. It was so cute. Cute, sweet, beautiful. Cute isn't actually the right word. I take it back. It was beautiful. But anyways, that one still lives in the fantasy world where it's okay to be what you are, but I feel like both characters are well aware. There is no toxic force at work. There doesn't seem to be like as one super masculine person and one super feminine person in that show. I would say that they're kind of equal in their own ways. I don't know. What do you guys think about My Magic Prophecy? I'm trying to consider. I'm like, does it really break the mold? I feel like it does, or I felt like it did when I mentioned it, but I also love it. So, might be slightly biased. So, if you feel like it still kind of fits into this classic stereotypes, let me know. Um, and yes, Jimmy and C are nailing it. Like, I thought they were good in uh Last Twilight, which was their last series that they did. Um, Beautifully done. I only had like a bit of a like bone to pick with the ending, but nothing too crazy. And it was just such a stunning series. Um, Jimmy and C's acting, I was like, dang, they're good. And then they have leveled up one. And like, I feel like My Magic Prophecy is actually better than Last Twilight, acting wise. Um, just super, super well done. So, another thing about My Magic Prophecy, no non-con, super consensual. It's so beautiful. The consent in that show is amazing. The improvisation is funny. Uh, I love a show with consent, and that show does that well too. So we don't have that. We don't have classic stereotypes happening for the characters and how they're supposed to look. And I feel like what else was missing from that? Someone being straight. That was also missing from that. Yeah, okay, so the improvisation was the lap sitting kiss was an the lap sitting the lap sitting kiss was an improvisation, and then when Jimmy or Tap, I guess, kissed In's eye, the tears away, that was also improv. But I think the lap sitting thing that he did this last time kind of was like icing on the cake for that. I really like Save in My Magic Prophecy. I've liked him in other things, but he has leveled up. Awesome. Oh, okay. The next one that I think kind of breaks the molds a little bit is Memoir of Rati. Um, that one I think does it in every way. In every way, that show is definitely doesn't follow any classic tropes whatsoever. It is a short form series from China, but not a vertical one. Okay, good to know. It tells a story of a character that has constant memory losses who is taking care of his former boyfriend, so the couple is already established. Ah, that's cute. I love it. Memoir of Rati has been stunning. Stunning. Yes. Um, just completely breaking any and all molds, I think, of what BLs have like been expected to be, I guess, essentially. So, both in O and Boom's character and in Great and In's character. Just really fun show. Beautifully done, very different. Um, I'm trying to think though. I don't know that show is also full of consent and understanding. Or no, there was that one moment. I take that back. We did have a moment of something that was there was a surprise kiss thrown in there. It wasn't exactly like horribly non-con, but it was like what the heck are you doing kind of situation. So it wasn't consensual either exactly because it was surprise. So I don't know. I don't know. You guys can like take that or leave it, or maybe you guys see it a little differently. I don't know. I keep seeing that Memoir of Rati is one of the few historicals in Thailand, but there has to be lots. Memoir of Rati is just the first BL historical BL that GMMTV has done. That I guess that's what makes it special. But as far as historical acorns, there's many. And as far as historical BLs, it is the fourth or fifth, I suppose, from Thailand that uses um, some sort of historical backdrop. But right now we also have I'm the Most Beautiful Count, which has an historical aspect to it, although they did use an alternate universe and a place that doesn't actually exist for their historical part, so I don't know if we can count that. And then there's I Feel You Linger in the Air, which is now fully available on YouTube and is, guys, that one is absolutely stunning. Yeah, that one's worth checking out. And then there's Century of Love, which is set in the past and the present, so I don't know if we can count that. But it does involve a 100-year-old man, so that's kind of fun. And then I guess if I can name them all that I'm aware of, that's saying something, isn't it? The other one that I know of is, oh gosh, give me a second. What is that show called? I know what their other show is, so I can find it really fast. Give me a second. Let me look it up. Their other show is To Sir with Love. To Sir with Love is the other show that I'm aware of, and To Sir with Love is also really good. I know there was a period of B.L. Lacorn that was done more recently than that, but that one didn't really get very popular, and I didn't enjoy it as much, so I don't remember the title. So I guess that's like six or seven. So no, you're right. Historical BLs, DeLorean, KT, there is compared to the fact that like there's about 65 shows right now per year coming out of Thailand. When I can count like 7 or 8 from the last 3 years, I guess that's kind of minimal. But let's think about how much it would cost to put on a historical BL. I bet that's part of it. Like it's just a higher budget to make that happen. I didn't have issues with that kiss. It made total sense for those characters at that moment, especially in 1915. I felt Deck was exploring where things were between them. Okay. See, that's why it didn't pop up till later for me either, Chas. Like I didn't immediately think of it because it wasn't necessarily problematic for me either. But I'm like, okay, maybe somebody might find it problematic. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, the next one is Shine, but as the producers of that show have said over and over again, they're not calling it a BL, they're calling it a gay drama. Um, Shine is its own thing, I guess. So, very different. As a gay man, I can see being in that situation. Okay. So that maybe is almost more realistic than, in a way, what happened between Deck and Mech. Good to know, actually. I love it. Actually, I don't even say, yeah, like that is, that's a thing. That's a thing anywhere for anyone. Like you just randomly kiss somebody sometimes. I feel like that's just a thing. Okay, now I'm getting all red and stuff. But it's definitely a thing. Okay, Shine is, they're calling it a gay drama, but it is got a verse couple in it. So did The Proper Way to Write Love, for that matter. Both of those series have a verse couple in it, which I think is super cool. Um, and I mean, Shine very explicitly has a verse couple in it, and then it's just a realistic portrayal, I think, of being gay in that era in Thailand. Some of the other historical BLs, there's been, even in Memoir of Rati, there's been an element of like openness in their actions and almost a lack of consequences where there really would have been, because oh, I need to have more information. So before 1957 there were legal punishments for it. So these historical dramas that are set pre 1957 would have been a little bit more scared, I would think, than somebody post 1957. Um, so there's that as well. Okay, onwards. And then what else is there? So we have Shine, where it was kind of frowned upon. Um, Shine is very much along the lines of a lot of the better gay media I have watched over the years. I feel it is exceptionally well done. Yeah, down to storyline, cinematography, all of the things, just exceptionally well done. Feelings of insecurity, inadequacy, um, looking at books that you would research during that time about those kinds of things and uh how they felt, how like the kinds of books that were written back then. The book wasn't translated. The book that Trin was reading wasn't translated to English. Like what he was reading wasn't translated, but you could find that translation on X. It is a book that existed in the day, and it is not what we today would consider to be a pleasant book about the subject. So I thought that was interesting too. And also the things he was listing on the paper while the notes he was taking while reading that book is also very realistic. Um, Super cool. Love Sea, oddly enough. I don't know if the Japanese version follows the Thai version, but I feel like Love Sea has a lot of elements that are kind of breaking the typical stereotypical molds for BL. Yes, I have read a couple of those books in the mid 1970s. Awful. Yeah, I don't even want to speak to what's in those kinds of books today in 2025 because I feel like there's no point in dwelling on the past in that way. We might as well look towards the future. I feel like these kinds of conversations also need to be approached with sensitivity. I feel like that show does a really great job of approaching them with sensitivity. Actually, it's pretty impressive. So, Love Sea, the Japanese version. I haven't been watching it, but if it follows the Thai version, I feel like there are elements of that somewhat break the mold. There are elements that are similar, but there are some elements that are different. And then um, Muti Love. Who has tried the first little storyline in Muti Love? It's Hi Bye My Love. Um, I don't know. Those two boys, C and Keen, I feel like they pick storylines that are just kind of about everyday life of teenagers, and they don't follow any of the classic tropes. Either of them, neither Only Boo, which is their first series, or this new one, really follow any of the toxic tropes that have existed in BL. And cute is the right word for it because it's high school and it's always age appropriate. And yeah, very, very cute. Um, Everybody's like, I watched it. Cool. Awesome. I'm glad we're all watching it because C and Keen deserve everything. For whatever reason, they're not as popular as some of the others. I don't know why. I feel like I was taken back to my high school years in the 1970s. Can't imagine. I didn't come into figuring out that I wasn't straight until very recently. So, like, I'm one of those who, if I'd been approached by a woman in my 20s, would have been confused for a while. And in fact, for me, I met somebody, and it still took me like a year and a half to figure out what I was feeling was attraction in a way that made me not straight. So, like, I actually understand all of those characters in these stories that don't quite know what's going on for a hot second, you know? So, I'm like, I, sexuality is such a spectrum, and there are so many versions of it that I feel like we can't judge any of these series with all the different iterations of how these people come to love because honestly, like I think there's an experience, so many different kinds of experiences out there. It's not all just one. Um, that's just my opinion, but like I feel like more and more people are coming to that too, of thinking of it as a spectrum of some sort that is fluid and can change over the course of your life, and that we're not ever all just one thing. Let's see. For me, it was also being a part of that nerd group, the nerd group. I was a part of the theater crowd. You'd think it'd have been easier, but I grew up in a conservative area in the hills of California. Not all of California is liberal, and I think I think it didn't even occur to me that that could be a thing. You know, not for a very very long time. I took it as social anxiety for a hot second, even like I completely misidentified my feelings for a very long time. Thank you for sharing your story. Honestly, I can say that following BL and the fact that the lack of homophobia in them, that fantastical world where it's okay to be that, is how I came to accept it all, and is probably how I'm so open about it. Also, since I became aware of this only a few years ago, I missed the childhood problems that probably would have occurred growing up in a conservative area. So because of that, I don't, I guess I just don't feel weird about sharing stuff like this with everybody. Um, I don't know. It's a part of the rebellion. It's a part of the fight. It's a fight against homophobia in the US, and that's just being brave enough to speak out, I suppose, at the end of the day. I was part of the theater group and the nerd group, and I was opening gay at a time when almost no one. That is amazing. Thank you for sharing. Openly gay at a time when almost no one was in the USA. That, bravo. Standing ovation. I thank you for sharing with us, Chas. That must have been really challenging, actually. Can't even like that. That must have been so hard. Yeah. Um, this must feel really different. I don't know. I'm trying to picture it. I'm having difficulty, gender, age, all the things. The fact that I came out later, all of the things. But this must be a really interesting time to be living in. Yeah. Okay. So I think the big thing is that BL being written for women, specifically straight women. I feel like we're moving away from that, and I feel like we've been moving away from that for a long time in general, at least in the media that I've seen. Now, granted, my my vision isn't like all encompassing. I haven't seen everything. I don't read Japanese yaoi BL stories. Like the whole written part of it, I'm kind of like slower on the adventure. I haven't been reading as much. I haven't been hunting down translations of things as much. So that part I'm unaware of. So it's possible that the written world of BL isn't quite as far along as the live action series version of BL, and I'm just unaware. Um, but speaking to the live action version, I feel like we're moving along. I feel like things are changing, and they like want to, um, at least at the very least in Thailand, where the most series are coming from. They're wanting to use it as a tool for advocacy, a tool for social commentary, and a tool for um, learning. I've seen several people, directors, writers, now say they're trying to use it as a tool for teaching. For example, teaching a parent how to react to their child when they come out. So we see all these really positive reactions from parents. Well, that's deliberate. They're using it as a teaching tool, and I think that's really interesting. And worth noting and worth thinking about, because like a parent watching this kind of show, because they're curious maybe about their own child, um, is going to get like all this modeling happening, which is also really interesting. So lots of fun tropes, lots of cool things. I've been chatting at you for a long time. I feel like tonight was almost a lecture. Sorry, guys. But I don't know. So many fun things happening in this world that I wanted to update you guys in a different way today. Let's see. Like you mentioned, I have come to realize that things are often much more fluid than I might have thought, and I appreciate and enjoy hearing about the journeys people go through in life. Right? That's one of the fun parts about all of this is hearing everybody's stories. So cool. All right. Any final thoughts? Anybody? Any moments that they want to talk about from BLs this week? I think all of the My Magic Prophecy episode this week was like fantastic. And it makes me want to go back and rewatch Last Twilight and then go back and rewatch Vice Versa, because those are the other two Jimmy C series. And then watch all of the episodes of My Magic Prophecy again. Yeah. So that for me, it was My Magic Prophecy for the week. The whole entire episode. By the way, the OST is amazing. The OST is absolutely stunning for this week's episode. I adore that song. There's a version floating around on X of C just singing it to us. And uh, heart eyes, 1000%. Uh, I do enjoy shows where characters' sexuality isn't at question, though, and we are seeing more of that today. Yes, exactly. I feel like that part's important. I feel like we need those stories too. The stories, like you said, whereas the sexuality isn't a question. And the stories where it is, because all of those things are true. And it's not all one way, it's not all the other way. And there's even the story floating around there of the person who fell in love with one person who happened to be the same gender, but as a whole wouldn't think that they were attracted to everybody of that gender. That story is floating around too. Love MMP every week. Kamjir is always great. I watched the 2 episodes of My Bias is Showing 3 times. Oh, so we have a lover of My Bias is Showing. Love it. Revamp is just about perfect. Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying Revamp. It's Christmas every weekend between Revamp, Kamjira, Shine, My Magic Prophecy, Memoir Rati, uh, somewhat. I'm the most beautiful count. Even I would count that in the Christmassy weekend. That's a lot of shows that are really fun in their own ways and really good. So yeah, Christmas, and we're going to be adding more soon. So Merry Christmas, everybody. And I will talk to you next Tuesday, and we'll see what's on the line. Oh, for one, The Promise of the Soul is ending. Memoir of Rati is ending. So there's at least 2 shows that we'll be diving more into and talking about some of the great moments about those 2 shows. Ugh. Until then, have a great night. Oh wait, I have some couple more comments here. I agree that more diversity and variety in BL is needed and appreciated. Mm-hmm. It's happening. People who are paying attention know it's happening. People who aren't think we're still in the college era. You are wrong. We are no longer in the college era. We'll just straight up say it. All right. Memoir of Rati's finale this week is going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to the Promise of the Soul finale. Last week's episode ended on a huge cliffhanger. Yes, it did. We'll be talking about both of those for sure. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good evening. I can do this. End stream.